Have you ever found yourself wandering through the labyrinth of your own thoughts, only to stumble upon something unsettling lurking in the shadows? The human mind is a complex and mysterious place, filled with hidden fears, desires, and motivations. As we embark on this journey into the darker aspects of psychology, we will explore the concept of the shadow, a term popularized by the influential psychologist Carl Jung. The shadows of our minds are not merely figments of our imagination. They are integral parts of our psyche that can shape our behaviors and influence our relationships. Today, we will delve into the significance of these shadows, uncovering the hidden corners of our consciousness that often go unacknowledged. To understand the shadows of the mind, we must first acknowledge that every individual possesses aspects of themselves that they may not fully embrace or accept. These are the parts of us that we often hide from ourselves and others: our insecurities, our fears, our darker impulses. Jung argued that the shadow is composed of these unconscious traits and behaviors that we consider undesirable or unacceptable. By repressing these elements, we deny a vital part of ourselves, leading to inner conflict and turmoil. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, gazing at your reflection. On the surface, you may see a person who appears confident and composed, but beneath that facade lies a swirling mass of emotions and experiences. Perhaps you carry the weight of past failures, unresolved traumas, or even unacknowledged desires. The shadows of your mind represent those aspects of yourself that you may be reluctant to confront or accept. They are the whispers of your inner critic, the doubts that plague you, and the fears that hold you back from fully realizing your potential. The significance of acknowledging and understanding these shadows cannot be overstated. When we suppress parts of ourselves, we inadvertently create a rift between our conscious and unconscious minds. This disconnection can manifest in various ways, from anxiety and depression to unhealthy coping mechanisms. By shining a light on our shadows, we can begin to integrate these aspects into our conscious awareness, fostering a deeper understanding of ourselves and ultimately promoting personal growth. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Are there parts of yourself that you have avoided confronting? Perhaps you have experienced moments of shame or regret that you would prefer to forget. These feelings are often rooted in the shadows of your mind, waiting to be acknowledged and understood. It is through this process of self-reflection that we can begin to unravel the complexities of our psyche and embrace our true selves. The journey into the shadows is not without its challenges. Confronting our darker impulses can be unsettling and even frightening. Imagine standing at the edge of a dark forest, unsure of what lies within. The shadows may hold painful memories or difficult emotions, and the thought of facing them can evoke feelings of anxiety. However, it is essential to recognize that the shadows are not simply sources of fear. They also contain valuable insights and lessons. Consider the story of a young woman named Sarah, who struggled with feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. For years, she buried her emotions, striving to present a perfect facade to the world. However, beneath her confident exterior lay a fear of failure that paralyzed her from pursuing her dreams. It wasn't until she began to explore her shadows through therapy that she uncovered the root of her insecurities. By confronting her fears and acknowledging her vulnerabilities, Sarah was able to integrate these aspects of herself, leading to a profound transformation in her life. Sarah's experience illustrates the power of embracing our shadows. Instead of allowing fear to dictate her choices, she learned to recognize it as a part of her journey. The process of acknowledging her insecurities not only freed her from the burden of perfectionism, but also allowed her to pursue her passions with renewed vigor. This transformation serves as a reminder that our shadows can be sources of strength and resilience if we are willing to confront them. As we continue to explore the shadows of the mind, it is crucial to recognize that these hidden aspects are not inherently negative. They can also encompass our desires, passions, and creative impulses that we may have suppressed out of fear or societal expectations. When we deny these aspects of ourselves, we risk stifling our creativity and limiting our potential for growth. By embracing our shadows, we can tap into the wellspring of energy and inspiration that lies within. Imagine an artist standing before a blank canvas, unsure of how to begin. The artist's shadow may hold unexpressed emotions, forgotten dreams, or untapped creativity. It is only by confronting these hidden elements that the artist can break free from self-imposed limitations, allowing the vibrant colors of their imagination to flow freely onto the canvas. The act of creation becomes a transformative process, as the artist embraces both the light and dark aspects of their psyche. The relationship between creativity and the shadows of the mind can be seen throughout history. Many renowned artists, writers, and thinkers have drawn inspiration from their struggles and inner conflicts. The poet Sylvia Plath, for example, used her battle with mental illness as a catalyst for her powerful and evocative work. By delving into her shadows, Plath was able to articulate the complexities of human experience, offering readers a glimpse into the depths of her soul. As we examine the interplay between shadows and creativity, it becomes evident that acknowledging our darker impulses can lead to profound insights and artistic expression. The act of embracing our shadows allows us to access a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. This exploration can lead to a greater sense of authenticity and fulfillment, as we learn to honor the entirety of our being. Now, let's take a moment to consider the societal implications of our shadows. In a culture that often prioritizes positivity and success, individuals may feel pressured to suppress their vulnerabilities and struggles. This can lead to a collective denial of the darker aspects of human experience, creating a facade of perfection that ultimately alienates us from one another. The shadows of our minds are universal, yet the stigma surrounding them can prevent us from connecting authentically with others. Imagine a community where individuals feel safe to share their struggles and vulnerabilities. By creating spaces for open dialogue about mental health and emotional well-being, we can foster a sense of belonging and support. When we acknowledge our shadows collectively, we begin to dismantle the stigma surrounding mental health, encouraging individuals to seek help and embrace their true selves. As we navigate the complexities of the shadows of the mind, it is essential to recognize that this journey is deeply personal. Each person's experience with their shadows is unique, shaped by their history, relationships, and individual circumstances. The process of self-discovery can take time and may require courage and vulnerability. However, the rewards of this journey are immeasurable, leading to greater self-acceptance, resilience, and personal growth. Take a moment to reflect on your own shadows. What aspects of yourself have you avoided confronting? What fears, desires, or insecurities lie beneath the surface? Embracing these elements is not an easy task, but it is a necessary step on the path to self-understanding. By acknowledging your shadows, you can begin to integrate them into your conscious self, allowing for a more authentic and fulfilling existence. As we prepare to transition to our next segment, let us carry with us the understanding that the shadows of our minds are not something to be feared or avoided. Instead, they are integral parts of our identity that deserve recognition and exploration. By confronting our shadows, we can unlock the potential for personal growth and transformation, leading us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. In our next exploration, we will unravel the concept of manipulation and how understanding it can empower us to navigate the complexities of human relationships. Prepare to delve deeper into the darker aspects of psychology, as we continue to uncover the mysteries of the human mind and the forces that shape our actions and interactions. Have you ever felt as though someone was pulling the strings of your thoughts and actions, guiding you to make choices that you later regretted? Manipulation is a powerful tool, often wielded in the shadows of human interaction, and it can have profound effects on our relationships, decisions, and even our sense of self. Today, we will explore the art of manipulation, uncovering the techniques that underpin this complex behavior and examining how understanding manipulation can empower us to navigate the intricacies of human relationships. At its core, manipulation involves influencing others' thoughts, feelings, and actions to achieve personal goals. While this can have negative connotations, manipulation is not always inherently bad. In fact, we all engage in manipulative behaviors to some degree, whether consciously or unconsciously. Consider a time when you persuaded a friend to join you for a movie instead of staying home. Perhaps you used emotional appeals or played on their desire for companionship. In this case, you were leveraging psychological techniques to influence their decision, which isn't necessarily malicious. However, when manipulation becomes exploitative, it can lead to harm and erode trust in relationships. This darker side of manipulation often relies on tactics that exploit psychological vulnerabilities, making it essential to recognize and understand these methods. By doing so, we can protect ourselves from being manipulated while also gaining insights into our own behaviors. One of the foundational techniques of manipulation is the use of emotional appeals. This involves appealing to someone's feelings to influence their decisions or actions. For instance, many advertisers rely on emotional marketing to connect with consumers. They craft advertisements that evoke feelings of nostalgia, happiness, or even fear, encouraging viewers to associate those emotions with their products. Imagine a commercial that depicts a family gathering during the holidays, filled with laughter and warmth, while a soft melody plays in the background. The message is clear: purchasing this product will enhance your family's happiness and togetherness. Emotional appeals can be incredibly effective, as they tap into our desires and fears. When we feel emotionally connected to a message, we are more likely to act in accordance with it. However, this technique can also be manipulated to exploit insecurities or vulnerabilities. For example, someone may use guilt to manipulate another's behavior, saying, "If you really cared about me, you would help me with this." This kind of emotional manipulation can create a sense of obligation, pushing individuals to act against their own interests or values. As we explore the art of manipulation, we must also consider the role of social influence. Humans are inherently social beings, and our behaviors are often shaped by the people around us. This phenomenon is known as social proof, the idea that we look to others for guidance in uncertain situations. When we see others engaging in a particular behavior, we are more likely to follow suit. This principle can be exploited in various contexts, from marketing to group dynamics. Imagine attending a party where everyone is dancing and having a great time. You may initially feel hesitant to join in, but as you observe others enjoying themselves, you're more likely to get up and join the fun. This is social proof at work, and it illustrates how our behaviors can be influenced by the actions of others. Manipulative individuals may exploit this tendency by creating environments where certain behaviors are normalized, making it difficult to resist conformity. Another powerful tool in the manipulator's arsenal is the use of authority. We tend to trust and follow those we perceive as experts or figures of authority. This principle is often utilized in marketing and advertising, where endorsements from celebrities or industry leaders can sway consumer behavior. When a well-known figure endorses a product, we are more inclined to believe in its value and effectiveness. However, the manipulation of authority can also take on more sinister forms. Consider a situation where someone uses their position of power to influence others' decisions. A manager might pressure an employee to work overtime by implying that failure to comply will jeopardize their job security. In this case, the employee may feel trapped, believing that they have no choice but to comply with the demand. This exploitation of authority highlights the darker side of manipulation and the ethical considerations that must be taken into account. As we delve deeper into the art of manipulation, it is essential to recognize the psychological mechanisms that underlie these techniques. One such mechanism is cognitive dissonance, the discomfort we feel when our beliefs and actions are in conflict. Manipulators may exploit this discomfort to encourage compliance. For instance, if someone convinces you to start a new habit, such as exercising more, you may experience cognitive dissonance if you fail to follow through. The discomfort of not aligning your actions with your stated goal can lead to feelings of guilt or inadequacy, pushing you to conform to the behavior to reduce the dissonance. Imagine being convinced to join a gym, only to find yourself skipping workouts. The nagging feeling of guilt can become a powerful motivator, compelling you to push through the discomfort and return to the gym, even if you initially had reservations about your commitment. Manipulators understand this dynamic and may use it to their advantage, encouraging others to act in ways that align with their desired outcomes. Another psychological tactic employed by manipulators is the principle of scarcity. When something is perceived as limited or exclusive, we often value it more highly. This principle is commonly used in marketing, where advertisements create a sense of urgency by suggesting that a product is in short supply. The phrase limited time offer is designed to trigger a fear of missing out, prompting consumers to act quickly. However, the manipulation of scarcity can also manifest in interpersonal relationships. Imagine a friend who frequently tells you that their time is limited and that you should be grateful for the moments you share together. This tactic creates a sense of urgency and scarcity, leading you to prioritize that friendship over others, even if it may not be the healthiest relationship for you. Recognizing this dynamic allows you to approach relationships with greater awareness, ensuring that you are making choices that align with your values rather than succumbing to manipulative tactics. As we explore the art of manipulation, it is crucial to recognize the ethical implications of these techniques. While understanding manipulation can empower us to protect ourselves, it is also essential to consider the responsibilities that come with this knowledge. Manipulating others for personal gain can lead to a breakdown of trust and damage relationships. Instead of exploiting psychological vulnerabilities, we can choose to engage in more ethical forms of influence, promoting understanding and collaboration rather than coercion. Let's take a moment to reflect on the importance of authenticity and transparency in our interactions. When we communicate openly and honestly with others, we foster an environment of trust and respect. This approach allows for healthy relationships built on mutual understanding, rather than manipulation. By prioritizing ethical communication, we can create connections that empower both ourselves and those around us. As we approach the conclusion of our exploration of the art of manipulation, it is essential to recognize that manipulation is a multifaceted phenomenon that exists on a spectrum. While some forms of manipulation can be harmful, others may serve as tools for influence and persuasion. Understanding these dynamics allows us to navigate the complexities of human interaction with greater awareness and intention. Consider the feelings that arise as you reflect on your own experiences with manipulation. The art of manipulation serves as a reminder that our interactions are shaped by a myriad of psychological factors, and that recognizing these influences can empower us to make more informed decisions. It encourages us to engage in self-reflection, examining our motivations and the impact our actions have on others. As we prepare to transition to our next segment, let us carry with us the understanding that manipulation is not inherently negative. Rather, it is a tool that can be wielded with intention and responsibility. By embracing knowledge and awareness, we can navigate the complexities of human relationships with authenticity and compassion. In our next exploration, we will delve into the psychology of persuasion and how it shapes our decisions and beliefs. Prepare to journey further as we continue to uncover the complexities of the human mind and the forces that shape our actions and interactions. Have you ever wondered why you find yourself nodding in agreement with a charismatic speaker, even when you initially had doubts about their message? Or why you feel compelled to purchase a product after watching an advertisement that resonates with you on a deeper level? These experiences are not mere coincidences. They are the result of carefully crafted persuasion techniques that tap into the very essence of human psychology. Today, we will embark on a journey into the psychology of persuasion, uncovering the subtle mechanisms that influence our thoughts, decisions, and behaviors in ways we may not even realize. Persuasion surrounds us in our daily lives, from the advertisements we encounter to the conversations we have with friends, family, and colleagues. It is a powerful force that can shape our beliefs, guide our actions, and even transform our worldview. At its core, persuasion is the art of convincing others to adopt a particular viewpoint or take a specific action. While this might sound manipulative, persuasion is not inherently negative. In fact, it can be a tool for positive change, fostering communication, and building connections between individuals. To understand the psychology of persuasion, we must first explore the foundational principles that underlie this complex process. One of the most influential figures in this field is Dr. Robert Cialdini, who identified 6 key principles of persuasion: reciprocity, commitment and consistency, social proof, authority, liking, and scarcity. These principles serve as the building blocks for understanding how persuasion works and why certain techniques are more effective than others. Let's begin with the principle of reciprocity, a powerful force in human interaction. This principle suggests that we feel obligated to return favors, gifts, or gestures that others have provided to us. It's a deeply ingrained social norm that has evolved over centuries, fostering cooperation and mutual benefit within communities. Imagine receiving a small gift from a colleague, perhaps a homemade cookie or a cup of coffee. This simple act of generosity creates a subtle sense of obligation, making you more likely to comply with a future request from that person. Marketers and salespeople often leverage this principle by offering free samples, trial periods, or small gifts to potential customers. When you receive a free sample at a grocery store, you may feel a subtle pressure to purchase the product, even if you hadn't initially planned to do so. This is reciprocity at work, subtly influencing your decision-making process. The next time you find yourself considering a purchase after receiving something for free, take a moment to reflect on whether your decision is based on genuine interest or a sense of obligation. The second principle, commitment and consistency, taps into our desire to be seen as consistent in our words and actions. Once we make a public commitment or take a stand on an issue, we feel compelled to follow through on that commitment to maintain our self-image and avoid cognitive dissonance. This principle is often used in sales techniques that start with small, easy-to-agree-to requests before escalating to larger commitments. Consider a scenario where a salesperson asks you to try out a product with no obligation to buy. By agreeing to this small request, you've made a commitment to engage with the product. As you invest time in using it, you become more likely to purchase it, as doing so aligns with your initial commitment and reinforces your self-image as a consistent individual. This principle also explains why written goals are often more effective than mental ones. The act of writing down a commitment makes it more concrete and increases the likelihood of follow-through. Social proof, our third principle, is based on the idea that we look to others for guidance on how to behave, especially in uncertain situations. When we see others engaging in a particular behavior, we are more likely to view that behavior as appropriate and follow suit. This principle is particularly powerful in ambiguous or unfamiliar situations, where we rely on the actions of others to guide our own. Imagine walking past two restaurants, one bustling with customers and the other nearly empty. Which one would you choose? Most people would opt for the crowded restaurant, assuming that its popularity is a testament to the quality of its food and service. This is social proof in action, where the behavior of others serves as evidence for what is correct or desirable. Marketers leverage this principle through testimonials, customer reviews, and social media endorsements, all of which signal that others have approved of a product or service. The principle of authority suggests that we are more likely to comply with requests or follow the guidance of those we perceive as experts or authority figures. This influence is deeply rooted in our societal structures, where we are taught from a young age to respect and obey those in positions of authority. When a doctor recommends a treatment, we are inclined to follow their advice due to their perceived expertise and authority in the field of medicine. Advertisers often utilize this principle by featuring experts or celebrities in their campaigns. A dentist recommending a specific toothpaste or a famous athlete endorsing a sports drink can significantly influence consumer behavior. The presence of credentials, titles, or symbols of authority, such as a white lab coat or a police uniform, can enhance this effect even when the individual's expertise may not be directly relevant to the subject at hand. Liking, our fifth principle, is straightforward yet powerful. We are more likely to be persuaded by people we like. This liking can stem from physical attractiveness, similarity to ourselves, compliments, or positive associations. When we feel a connection with someone, we are more receptive to their ideas and more willing to comply with their requests. Consider a salesperson who takes the time to establish rapport, find common ground, and genuinely connect with you before making a sales pitch. Their friendly demeanor and personal connection make you more inclined to listen to their recommendations and consider their offer. This principle explains why businesses invest in creating a likable brand image and why influencer marketing has become such a powerful tool in the digital age. We are more likely to trust and follow the recommendations of people we feel connected to. The final principle, scarcity, taps into our fear of missing out. When something is perceived as rare or limited in availability, we tend to value it more highly and feel a greater urgency to acquire it. This principle is evident in limited-time offers, exclusive memberships, and products marketed as "while supplies last." The perception of scarcity creates a sense of urgency that can override our rational decision-making process, pushing us to act quickly to avoid missing out on an opportunity. Imagine scrolling through a travel website and seeing a notification that only 2 rooms left at this price, or 5 other people are looking at this hotel right now. These messages create a sense of urgency and competition, encouraging you to book immediately rather than taking time to compare options or consider alternatives. By understanding this principle, you can recognize when scarcity tactics are being used and make more deliberate, thoughtful decisions. As we explore these principles of persuasion, it's important to recognize that they often work in combination, creating a powerful influence on our thoughts and behaviors. A skilled persuader may leverage multiple principles simultaneously, crafting messages that resonate on multiple psychological levels. For instance, a charitable organization might use authority, endorsements from respected figures, social proof, testimonials from donors, and scarcity, limited-time matching grants, in a single fundraising campaign. The psychology of persuasion extends beyond these 6 principles, encompassing a wide range of techniques and strategies. One such technique is the use of emotional appeals, which can be particularly effective in persuasive communication. Emotions can override rational thought, leading us to make decisions based on how we feel rather than what we think. Advertisers often tap into emotions such as fear, joy, nostalgia, or hope to create a connection with their audience and influence their behavior. Consider a public service announcement about the dangers of texting while driving. By evoking fear and empathy through vivid imagery and emotional storytelling, the message becomes more persuasive than a simple presentation of statistics. Similarly, political campaigns often focus on emotional appeals rather than detailed policy discussions, recognizing that voters are more likely to be swayed by how a candidate makes them feel than by the specifics of their platform. Another powerful persuasion technique is the use of storytelling. Stories have a unique ability to capture our attention, evoke emotions, and make information more memorable. When information is presented in the form of a narrative, we are more likely to engage with it and remember it later. This is why case studies, testimonials, and personal anecdotes can be more persuasive than abstract data or logical arguments. Imagine reading a dry report about the benefits of a new medication versus hearing a personal story from someone whose life was transformed by the treatment. The emotional impact of the story creates a stronger connection and makes the information more compelling. By understanding the power of storytelling, we can recognize when this technique is being used to persuade us and evaluate the actual evidence behind the narrative. The framing of information also plays a crucial role in persuasion. The same information can lead to different responses depending on how it is presented. For example, describing a medical treatment as having a 90% survival rate is more persuasive than describing it as having a 10% mortality rate, even though these statements convey the same information. This cognitive bias, known as the framing effect, highlights the importance of how information is presented in persuasive communication. As we become more aware of these persuasion techniques, we can develop a greater sense of agency in our decision-making process. By recognizing when and how these principles are being applied, we can pause, reflect, and make choices that align with our true values and interests rather than succumbing to external influence. This awareness does not make us immune to persuasion. These principles are deeply ingrained in human psychology, but it does enable us to engage more critically with the persuasive messages we encounter. Take a moment to reflect on a recent decision you made. Were you influenced by any of the principles we've discussed? Perhaps you purchased a product because it was endorsed by someone you admire, authority, or maybe you joined a fitness class because your friends were members, social proof. Recognizing these influences allows you to evaluate whether your choices truly reflect your own needs and values. As we approach the conclusion of our exploration of the psychology of persuasion, it is essential to recognize that persuasion is a neutral tool that can be used for both beneficial and harmful purposes. Understanding these principles empowers us to become more discerning consumers, more effective communicators, and more aware individuals. It allows us to recognize when others are attempting to influence us and to evaluate whether their persuasive efforts align with our best interests. Consider the feelings that arise as you reflect on the persuasive influences in your life. The psychology of persuasion serves as a reminder that our decisions are shaped by a complex interplay of psychological factors, and that recognizing these influences can lead to greater self-awareness and more authentic choices. As we prepare to transition to our next segment, let us carry with us the understanding that persuasion is a powerful force that shapes our lives in countless ways. By developing an awareness of these psychological principles, we can navigate the world with greater intention and autonomy. In our next exploration, we will delve into the fascinating concept of cognitive dissonance, examining how our minds reconcile contradictory beliefs and actions. Prepare to journey deeper into the complexities of the human mind as we continue to unravel the psychological forces that shape our experiences. Have you ever experienced that uncomfortable feeling when you find yourself acting in a way that contradicts your beliefs or values? Perhaps you've advocated for environmental protection while simultaneously driving a gas-guzzling SUV, or preached the importance of healthy eating while indulging in fast food. That unsettling sensation, that inner tension between what you believe and what you do, is cognitive dissonance, a powerful psychological phenomenon that influences our thoughts, behaviors, and decisions in profound ways. Cognitive dissonance occurs when we hold two or more contradictory beliefs, values, or attitudes, or when our actions conflict with our beliefs. This mental discomfort drives us to resolve the inconsistency, often through rationalizing our behavior, changing our beliefs, or modifying our actions. The concept was first introduced by psychologist Leon Festinger in 1957, and it has since become one of the most influential theories in social psychology, helping us understand how humans navigate the complexities of their inner worlds. Imagine a person who considers themselves honest and trustworthy, yet finds themselves telling a significant lie to a close friend. The contradiction between their self-image as an honest person and their dishonest behavior creates psychological tension. This discomfort doesn't simply vanish. It demands resolution. The person might justify their lie. It was just a white lie to protect their feelings. Minimize its importance. Everyone tells little lies sometimes. Or even adjust their self-concept. Maybe I'm not as honest as I thought I was. These mental maneuvers serve to reduce the dissonance and restore a sense of internal consistency. What makes cognitive dissonance particularly fascinating is its ubiquity in our daily lives. From small decisions to life-altering choices, this psychological mechanism influences how we interpret our experiences and justify our actions. Consider a smoker who continues their habit despite knowing the severe health risks. The dissonance between their knowledge of smoking's dangers and their continued behavior creates significant psychological tension. To resolve this discomfort, they might downplay the risks. "My grandfather smoked his whole life and lived to be 90. Emphasize the benefits. It helps me manage stress." Or focus on their intention to quit in the future. "I'm cutting down, and I'll stop completely next month." The power of cognitive dissonance lies in its ability to shape our perceptions and memories, often without our awareness. Our minds work diligently to maintain a consistent self-image, even if that means distorting reality. In a classic study, participants were asked to perform a boring task and then paid either $1 or $20 to tell the next participant that the task was enjoyable. Later, when asked about their genuine feelings about the task, those who were paid only $1 rated it as more enjoyable than those who received $20. Why? The participants who received minimal compensation experienced greater dissonance. They had lied about the task's enjoyment for very little reward. To reduce this dissonance, they unconsciously convinced themselves that the task was actually somewhat enjoyable. Those who received $20 had sufficient external justification for their lie, so they didn't need to change their attitude about the task. This study illuminates a counterintuitive aspect of cognitive dissonance. Sometimes, the less external justification we have for our actions, the more we change our internal beliefs to justify them. This principle has profound implications for understanding human behavior and decision-making. It suggests that we don't simply form beliefs and then act on them. Rather, our actions can shape our beliefs through the mechanism of dissonance reduction. The effects of cognitive dissonance extend beyond individual psychology to influence social dynamics and group behavior. Consider how political partisans might respond when presented with information that contradicts their views. Rather than adjusting their beliefs in light of new evidence, they often experience dissonance and engage in motivated reasoning, seeking out information that confirms their existing beliefs while discounting contradictory evidence. This phenomenon, known as confirmation bias, can contribute to political polarization and make productive dialogue increasingly difficult. Cognitive dissonance also plays a crucial role in our decision-making processes, particularly after we've made significant choices. Once we've committed to a decision, whether it's purchasing a car, choosing a college, or selecting a career path, we tend to focus on the positive aspects of our choice while downplaying its drawbacks. Simultaneously, we may emphasize the negative aspects of the alternatives we rejected. This post-decision dissonance reduction helps us feel confident that we made the right choice, even if the decision was actually quite close. Imagine a scenario where you're deciding between two job offers. After much deliberation, you choose Company A over Company B. In the weeks following your decision, you might find yourself focusing on the positive aspects of Company A, great benefits, friendly colleagues, while dwelling on the potential drawbacks of Company B, longer commute, less prestigious. This mental adjustment isn't necessarily dishonest. It's your mind's way of reducing the dissonance that comes from wondering what if and reinforcing your confidence in your choice. The phenomenon of effort justification provides another compelling example of cognitive dissonance at work. When we invest significant effort, time, or resources into achieving a goal, we tend to value the outcome more highly, even if the objective quality of that outcome remains unchanged. This explains why we might cherish a piece of IKEA furniture that we struggled to assemble more than a pre-assembled piece of similar quality. The dissonance between the effort expended and the potential disappointment of an unsatisfying outcome drives us to perceive the result as more valuable. This principle has been observed in various contexts, including fraternity and sorority hazing rituals. The more difficult and humiliating the initiation process, the more committed members tend to be to the group. Why? The severe initiation creates potential dissonance. Why would I subject myself to such treatment? Which is resolved by enhancing the perceived value of group membership. This group must be really special to be worth such sacrifice. Understanding this mechanism helps explain why people sometimes remain committed to groups, relationships, or pursuits that outside observers might question. Cognitive dissonance can also manifest in the sour grapes phenomenon, named after Aesop's fable about the fox who couldn't reach the grapes and decided they must be sour anyway. When we desire something that we cannot obtain, we may devalue it to reduce the dissonance between our desire and the reality of its unavailability. Conversely, we might engage in sweet lemon rationalization, convincing ourselves that what we have is actually better than what we originally wanted. Consider a student who fails to get accepted into their dream university. To manage the disappointment and reduce dissonance, they might focus on the negative aspects of that university. It's too expensive anyway, or the campus culture isn't really a good fit for me, while emphasizing the positive aspects of the school they will attend. It has a better program in my specific area of interest, or the smaller class sizes will allow for more personalized attention. This psychological adjustment helps maintain self-esteem and emotional well-being in the face of disappointment. While cognitive dissonance often leads to rationalization and self-deception, it can also serve as a catalyst for positive change. When the dissonance between our values and our actions becomes too great to ignore or rationalize, we may choose to align our behavior with our beliefs. A person who values environmental sustainability might experience increasing dissonance about their high-carbon lifestyle, eventually leading them to make significant changes like reducing meat consumption, switching to renewable energy, or choosing public transportation over driving. This transformative potential of cognitive dissonance has been harnessed in therapeutic and educational contexts. For instance, motivational interviewing, a counseling approach used to help people change problematic behaviors, deliberately induces and amplifies cognitive dissonance. By gently highlighting the gap between a client's values and their current behavior, therapists can motivate genuine change without creating defensiveness. Similarly, educational interventions that create dissonance around harmful beliefs or behaviors, such as prejudice or unhealthy eating habits, can be more effective than simply providing information. The discomfort of cognitive dissonance can also serve as a moral compass, alerting us when our actions diverge from our ethical principles. That pang of guilt when we behave unkindly, or the unease we feel when participating in systems we believe are unjust, can prompt reflection and course correction. Rather than immediately resolving this dissonance through rationalization, we can use it as an opportunity for self-examination and growth. By paying attention to these feelings of discomfort, we can gain valuable insights into our true values and make more authentic choices. As we navigate a world filled with contradictions and competing values, understanding cognitive dissonance can help us become more self-aware and intentional in our thinking. When we recognize the signs of dissonance, discomfort, defensiveness, or elaborate justifications, we can pause to examine the inconsistency more carefully. Are we changing our beliefs to justify our actions, or should we consider changing our behavior to align with our core values? This awareness doesn't eliminate cognitive dissonance from our lives, but it allows us to engage with it more consciously. Consider your own experience with cognitive dissonance. Perhaps you've noticed yourself making excuses for behavior that doesn't align with your values, or perhaps you've felt that uncomfortable tension when faced with information that challenges your beliefs. These moments of dissonance, though uncomfortable, offer valuable opportunities for self-reflection and growth. By acknowledging the inconsistency rather than immediately resolving it through rationalization, you create space for genuine learning and development. The study of cognitive dissonance reminds us that humans are not purely rational beings who form beliefs based solely on evidence and then act accordingly. Instead, our beliefs and actions exist in a complex, reciprocal relationship, each influencing the other through mechanisms like dissonance reduction. This understanding encourages humility about our own rationality and compassion for others whose rationalizations may seem obvious to us but remain invisible to them. In our increasingly polarized society, recognizing the universal human tendency toward cognitive dissonance can foster greater understanding across divides. When we encounter someone whose views seem inconsistent or whose rationalizations appear transparent, we can remember that we too engage in similar mental gymnastics. This recognition doesn't mean abandoning critical thinking or accepting harmful beliefs, but it can help us approach disagreements with greater empathy and effectiveness. As we conclude our exploration of cognitive dissonance, take a moment to reflect on how this psychological mechanism has shaped your own beliefs and behaviors. The next time you experience that uncomfortable feeling of inner contradiction, try to sit with the discomfort rather than immediately resolving it. What might it be telling you about your true values? What changes might it be inviting you to consider? By engaging thoughtfully with cognitive dissonance, we can transform this psychological phenomenon from a source of self-deception into a catalyst for growth and authenticity. As we transition to our next topic, the bystander effect, we'll continue to explore how psychological phenomena influence our behavior in ways we may not fully recognize. While cognitive dissonance reveals the internal conflicts that shape our decisions, the bystander effect illuminates how our actions are influenced by the presence of others, particularly in emergency situations. Both concepts highlight the complex interplay between our inner psychological processes and our external social environment, deepening our understanding of human behavior in all its fascinating complexity. Imagine you are walking down a busy street when suddenly you witness someone collapse on the sidewalk. A wave of shock washes over you, and instinctively you want to rush to their aid. But as you look around, you notice a crowd of people nearby, seemingly unfazed. Some are engaged in conversation, others are scrolling through their phones, and a few are simply walking past without a second glance. In that moment, you hesitate. You wonder if someone else will step in, if perhaps there is no real emergency, or if your intervention is even necessary. This is the essence of the bystander effect, a psychological phenomenon that reveals the complexities of human behavior in emergency situations. The bystander effect occurs when individuals are less likely to offer help to a victim when other people are present. The more bystanders there are, the less personal responsibility each individual feels. This paradox can lead to tragic outcomes, as people assume that someone else will take action, creating a diffusion of responsibility. The bystander effect has been the subject of extensive psychological research, revealing insights into human nature, social dynamics, and the factors that influence our willingness to help others. To understand the origins of the bystander effect, we must first look back to a tragic event that captured the attention of the world. In 1964, Kitty Genovese was brutally murdered outside her apartment in New York City. Despite her cries for help, it was reported that dozens of witnesses heard her pleas yet failed to intervene. This shocking incident led to a media frenzy and prompted social psychologists to investigate why people failed to act in the face of such a clear emergency. The results of this research illuminated the dynamics of group behavior and the psychological mechanisms at play in moments of crisis. Imagine being one of those bystanders, hearing the cries of someone in distress. The instinct to help is strong, yet you hesitate. Your mind races with thoughts. Surely someone else will help. Or, what if it's not as serious as it seems? This internal struggle reflects the cognitive processes that contribute to the bystander effect. When faced with an emergency, individuals often look to others for cues on how to respond. If no one else seems concerned, we may interpret the situation as less urgent, leading to inaction. One of the primary factors influencing the bystander effect is the concept of social influence. When we are in a group, we tend to conform to the behaviors and attitudes of those around us. If others are not reacting to the situation, we may unconsciously follow suit, assuming that their lack of action indicates that help is not needed. This social proof can create a chilling effect, where the presence of others inhibits individual action. Think about a time when you found yourself in a group setting, and someone made a comment or took an action that you were unsure about. Instead of voicing your disagreement, you may have remained silent, influenced by the dynamics of the group. This tendency to conform can be amplified in high-pressure situations, such as emergencies, where the stakes are high and the need for quick decision-making is paramount. In addition to social influence, the bystander effect is also influenced by the diffusion of responsibility. When we are part of a group, the sense of personal responsibility to act becomes diluted. Each individual may feel less accountable for the outcome, believing that someone else will step in to help. This diffusion can lead to a collective inaction, where everyone assumes the responsibility has been passed to someone else. Imagine you are at a crowded event and someone suddenly collapses. In that moment, you look around and see others witnessing the incident. Each person may be waiting for someone else to take the initiative. This shared responsibility can create a paralyzing effect, where the urgency of the situation is overshadowed by the belief that action is someone else's job. The bystander effect has been documented in numerous studies, revealing its prevalence across various contexts. In one classic experiment conducted by John Darley and Bib Latane, college students were placed in a room filled with smoke. When they were alone, the participants quickly reported the smoke to the authorities. However, when they were in a group with other students who remained calm despite the smoke, the likelihood of reporting the incident dropped significantly. This study highlights how the presence of others can inhibit our sense of urgency and responsibility. As we delve deeper into the bystander effect, let's consider its implications for our understanding of human behavior and social dynamics. The phenomenon raises critical questions about morality and ethics. In a society where individuals often rely on one another for support and assistance, the bystander effect can hinder our ability to act with compassion and empathy. It challenges us to reflect on our roles as active participants in our communities and the responsibilities we hold toward one another. Imagine a community facing a crisis, a natural disaster, a public health emergency, or a social injustice. In these situations, the bystander effect can have devastating consequences. If individuals feel disconnected from one another and assume that someone else will intervene, the collective response may be weakened. This underscores the importance of fostering a sense of community and encouraging individuals to take initiative when they witness others in need. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on your own experiences with the bystander effect. Have you ever found yourself hesitating to help someone in distress because you believed others would step in? Perhaps you witnessed a situation where people stood by, unsure of how to act. Recognizing these moments can help us cultivate a greater awareness of our responsibilities to one another and empower us to take action when it matters most. To combat the bystander effect, it is essential to cultivate a culture of responsibility within our communities. Encouraging individuals to take action, even in the presence of others, can create a ripple effect of compassion and support. By fostering environments where people feel empowered to intervene, we can challenge the assumptions that contribute to the bystander effect and promote a sense of collective responsibility. Consider the role of education in addressing the bystander effect. Raising awareness about this phenomenon through workshops, training programs, and community initiatives can help individuals recognize the importance of their actions in emergencies. Providing tools and strategies for intervention can empower bystanders to act decisively when faced with a crisis, ultimately leading to a more supportive and compassionate society. As we navigate the complexities of the bystander effect, we must also confront the psychological barriers that prevent us from taking action. Fear of embarrassment, uncertainty about how to help, and concerns about personal safety can all contribute to inaction. By acknowledging these fears and developing strategies to overcome them, we can cultivate a greater sense of agency in our interactions with others. Imagine a scenario where a person witnesses a crime in progress. The instinct to intervene may be overshadowed by fear of retaliation or uncertainty about the best course of action. However, recognizing that others may also be feeling the same way can create a sense of solidarity, encouraging individuals to act together. By fostering a culture of collective responsibility, we can empower one another to confront difficult situations with courage and compassion. As we approach the conclusion of our exploration of the bystander effect, it is essential to recognize that this phenomenon is a reflection of our shared humanity. The dynamics of social influence and the diffusion of responsibility reveal the complexities of human behavior in group settings. By understanding the psychological mechanisms at play, we can develop greater empathy for ourselves and others, recognizing that we all face moments of hesitation and uncertainty. Consider the feelings that arise as you reflect on the bystander effect. This phenomenon serves as a reminder that our actions have the power to shape the world around us. When we choose to intervene, we not only help others but also contribute to a culture of kindness and support. By confronting our fears and taking responsibility for our actions, we can create positive change in our communities. As we prepare to transition to our next segment, let us carry with us the understanding that the bystander effect highlights the intricacies of human behavior and the importance of empathy in our interactions. In our next exploration, we will delve into the psychology of fear, examining how it shapes our actions and reactions in life. Prepare to journey further into the depths of psychological inquiry as we continue to unravel the complex forces that influence our behavior and understanding of the human experience. Imagine standing on the edge of a cliff, your heart racing as you peer over the edge. The wind whips through your hair, and you feel a rush of adrenaline surge through your body. In that moment, fear grips you, igniting a primal response that is as old as humanity itself. Fear is a powerful emotion, one that can protect us from danger, but it can also paralyze us, preventing us from pursuing our dreams and living fully. Today, we will delve into the psychology of fear, exploring its origins, its impact on our lives, and how we can learn to navigate this complex and often overwhelming emotion. Fear is a fundamental human experience, deeply rooted in our biology and evolution. It serves as a protective mechanism, alerting us to potential threats and enabling us to respond to danger. When we perceive a threat, whether it's a snarling dog, an oncoming car, or a looming deadline, our bodies react instinctively. The amygdala, a small almond-shaped structure in the brain, processes fear and triggers the fight or flight response. This response prepares us to confront danger or escape from it, flooding our bodies with adrenaline and cortisol, which heightens our senses and increases our heart rate. This evolutionary response to fear has been essential for survival throughout human history. Imagine our ancestors living in a world filled with predators and hazards. Those who were attuned to the signs of danger and able to react quickly were more likely to survive and pass on their genes. Fear was not just a response to immediate threats. It also played a role in shaping social behaviors and group dynamics. In early human societies, fear could motivate cooperation and solidarity, as individuals banded together to protect one another from external threats. However, despite its protective nature, fear can also become detrimental. In modern society, we encounter a myriad of stressors that can trigger fear responses, often leading to anxiety and avoidance behaviors. Consider the college student who feels overwhelmed by the pressure to excel academically. The fear of failure may become so paralyzing that they avoid studying or engaging in class discussions altogether. What starts as a natural response to stress can spiral into a cycle of avoidance, preventing individuals from reaching their full potential. The psychology of fear is complex and multifaceted, encompassing a range of emotions and experiences. While some fears are rational and grounded in reality, others may be irrational, stemming from past traumas or cultural influences. Phobias, for example, are extreme and persistent fears of specific objects or situations, such as heights, spiders, or confined spaces. These fears can significantly impact an individual's quality of life, leading to avoidance behaviors and limiting their experiences. Imagine a person with a fear of flying. The thought of boarding an airplane may evoke overwhelming anxiety, leading them to avoid travel altogether. This fear may not be based on any direct experience, but rather a collection of thoughts, beliefs, and cultural narratives surrounding flight. The media often sensationalizes plane crashes, reinforcing the idea that flying is inherently dangerous. As a result, the individual's fear becomes amplified, creating a cycle of anxiety that reinforces their avoidance. The role of irrational fears and phobias highlights the psychological aspects of fear. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, has been shown to be effective in addressing these fears by challenging negative thought patterns and gradually exposing individuals to the sources of their anxiety. For example, a therapist might work with a client to help them confront their fear of flying by starting with visualization exercises, then progressing to simulations, and eventually taking small flights. By gradually desensitizing the individual to their fear, they can learn to manage their anxiety and reclaim their ability to travel. In addition to phobias, fear can manifest as generalized anxiety, where individuals experience persistent worry and unease about various aspects of life. This type of anxiety can be debilitating, affecting one's ability to concentrate, socialize, or engage in daily activities. The modern world, filled with uncertainty and rapid change, has contributed to an increase in anxiety disorders, with many individuals feeling overwhelmed by the pressures of work, relationships, and societal expectations. Consider the impact of social media on our perception of fear and anxiety. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with information, the fear of missing out, FOMO, can become pervasive. The curated lives we see online can create unrealistic expectations and intensify feelings of inadequacy. When we compare ourselves to others, we may feel that we are falling short, leading to anxiety and self-doubt. This cycle of comparison can exacerbate fears about our worthiness and lead to avoidance of social situations, further isolating us from opportunities for connection and growth. Fear can also play a significant role in shaping our behaviors and decision-making processes. The psychology of fear often leads us to prioritize safety and security over risk-taking and exploration. While this instinct can be protective, it can also prevent us from pursuing our passions and dreams. Imagine someone who has always wanted to start their own business but is held back by the fear of failure. The anxiety associated with the risks of entrepreneurship can feel paralyzing, leading them to remain in a stable yet unfulfilling job instead. This dynamic highlights the importance of understanding fear as both a motivator and a barrier. On one hand, fear can drive us to take precautions and protect ourselves from harm. On the other hand, it can become a limiting force that holds us back from realizing our potential. The key lies in learning how to navigate and manage fear, transforming it from an obstacle into an ally. One effective approach to managing fear is through mindfulness practices. Mindfulness encourages us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, creating space for self-reflection and awareness. By learning to sit with our fears and anxieties without immediately reacting to them, we can begin to understand their origins and reduce their power over us. Imagine standing in front of your fear as if it were a separate entity. Instead of allowing it to dictate your actions, you can acknowledge its presence and choose how to respond. In moments of fear and anxiety, grounding techniques can be invaluable. These techniques involve bringing your attention back to the present moment, helping to alleviate the overwhelming sensations that accompany fear. For example, focusing on your breath, engaging in physical movement, or utilizing sensory experiences can anchor you in the here and now. By learning to manage fear through mindfulness and grounding, you can reclaim your agency and navigate life's challenges with greater confidence. As we explore the psychology of fear further, we must also recognize the role of fear in societal and cultural contexts. Fear is often used as a tool for control, manipulation, and social cohesion. Governments, organizations, and institutions may exploit fear to instill compliance or promote specific ideologies. For instance, fear-based messaging is frequently employed in political campaigns, where candidates may invoke fears of economic collapse, terrorism, or social unrest to rally support. Consider the impact of fear-based narratives on public behavior. During times of crisis, such as natural disasters, pandemics, or political turmoil, fear can drive individuals to act in ways that prioritize their safety and security. While this instinct is natural, it can also lead to divisive behaviors, scapegoating, and increased polarization. The exploitation of fear for political gain can create an atmosphere of distrust and anxiety, further complicating our ability to engage constructively with one another. At the individual level, fear can also influence our interpersonal relationships. The fear of vulnerability, rejection, or abandonment may lead us to build emotional walls, preventing us from forming deep connections with others. Imagine a person who has experienced betrayal in a past relationship. The fear of being hurt again may cause them to withdraw emotionally, keeping others at arm's length. This self-protective mechanism can create a cycle of loneliness and isolation, making it difficult to forge meaningful relationships. Understanding the psychology of fear empowers us to confront our anxieties and cultivate healthier relationships. By recognizing our fears and the underlying motivations behind them, we can choose to act with courage and vulnerability. This does not mean that fear will disappear entirely. Rather, it means that we can learn to coexist with our fears and navigate them with intention. As we approach the conclusion of our exploration of the psychology of fear, it is essential to reflect on the lessons we have uncovered. Fear is a complex and multifaceted emotion that can serve both protective and limiting roles in our lives. By understanding its origins and mechanisms, we can develop a greater awareness of our reactions and responses, empowering us to make choices that align with our values and aspirations. Take a moment to consider your relationship with fear. How has it influenced your decisions, relationships, and experiences? Are there fears that hold you back from pursuing your goals or living authentically? By engaging with these questions, you can begin to unravel the complexities of fear and reclaim your agency in the face of uncertainty. As we prepare to transition to our next segment, let us carry with us the understanding that fear is a natural part of the human experience. By embracing our fears and learning to navigate them with mindfulness and intention, we can transform them into sources of strength and resilience. In our next exploration, we will delve into the concept of dark psychology, examining the manipulative tactics that can exploit our fears and vulnerabilities. Prepare to journey further into the depths of psychological inquiry as we continue to unravel the intricate forces that shape our understanding of human behavior and the challenges we face in our lives. Guilt is a complex and often uncomfortable emotion, one that can weigh heavily on our hearts and minds. It has the power to motivate us to change and grow, yet it can also be wielded as a weapon, exploited by others to manipulate our actions and decisions. Have you ever experienced that moment of guilt when you stood up for yourself, only to feel a nagging sense of remorse for asserting your needs? Or perhaps there was a time when you faced a difficult choice and felt torn between your values and the expectations of others. These experiences reflect the intricate nature of guilt, a feeling that is deeply woven into the fabric of our moral and ethical consciousness. At its core, guilt arises when we perceive our actions as conflicting with our moral values or the standards we hold for ourselves. When we believe we have done something wrong, or when our actions contradict our sense of integrity, guilt manifests as an emotional response that can trigger a range of feelings, from shame to anxiety. This emotional turmoil serves as a signal, prompting us to reflect on our behavior and consider how we can make amends or rectify the situation. In this way, guilt can act as a catalyst for positive change, pushing us to align our actions with our values and strive for personal growth. Consider a scenario in which you make a choice that goes against your values. Perhaps you lied to a friend to avoid hurting their feelings. The moment the truth surfaces, you may feel a rush of guilt wash over you. This discomfort is your mind's way of alerting you to the dissonance between your actions and your moral beliefs. In the aftermath, you might find yourself compelled to apologize, to make amends, or to reflect on why you felt the need to lie in the first place. This process of introspection can lead to valuable insights and a commitment to being more honest in the future. However, while guilt can serve as a motivating force for self-improvement, it can also be manipulated by others. Some individuals may exploit our sense of guilt to control our behavior, using it as a tool to achieve their own goals. This form of emotional manipulation can create a toxic dynamic in relationships, where one person leverages guilt to maintain power or influence over another. Imagine a partner who regularly reminds you of the sacrifices they have made for you, subtly implying that you owe them for their kindness. This tactic can create a sense of obligation, making you feel guilty for wanting to assert your needs or desires. Understanding the psychology of guilt is crucial for navigating relationships with greater awareness. When we recognize the ways in which guilt can be used manipulatively, we can reclaim our agency and make choices that align with our true values. Reflecting on moments when you felt guilt can illuminate patterns in your relationships. Perhaps you consistently feel guilty when you prioritize your own needs over those of others. This awareness can empower you to set healthy boundaries and communicate assertively, allowing you to cultivate relationships that are built on mutual respect rather than emotional coercion. The emotional weight of guilt can be further complicated by societal and cultural expectations. Many cultures emphasize the importance of self-sacrifice, altruism, and loyalty, often placing pressure on individuals to conform to these ideals. When we perceive our actions as falling short of these expectations, guilt can arise, prompting us to question our worthiness or value. This dynamic can lead to a cycle of guilt and self-doubt, making it challenging to navigate personal choices confidently. Imagine a young adult who feels guilty for pursuing their own dreams while their family expects them to follow a more conventional path. The pressure to conform to familial expectations can create a profound internal conflict. On one hand, they may wish to honor their family's wishes. On the other hand, they yearn to pursue their passions. The resulting guilt can lead to feelings of inadequacy, as they grapple with the belief that they are letting their family down. Recognizing this dynamic allows individuals to confront their guilt and make decisions that resonate with their authentic selves rather than succumbing to external pressures. The interplay between guilt and personal values also raises important questions about moral responsibility. When we act in ways that conflict with our ethical beliefs, guilt serves as a reminder of our obligations to ourselves and others. For instance, consider a workplace scenario where an employee witnesses unethical behavior, such as discrimination or dishonesty. If they choose to remain silent out of fear of repercussions, they may experience guilt for failing to stand up for what is right. This inner conflict can lead to significant emotional distress and, over time, may impact their mental health and well-being. In such situations, the experience of guilt can serve as a powerful motivator for action. The discomfort associated with an action can compel individuals to confront the issue, speak out, or take steps to address the wrongdoing. This illustrates how guilt can catalyze personal integrity and ethical behavior, encouraging individuals to align their actions with their values. However, it is essential to recognize that guilt is not always a clear-cut indicator of moral failings. The presence of guilt does not inherently mean that we have acted immorally. It can also stem from unrealistic expectations or societal pressures. Understanding the source of our guilt is crucial for addressing it constructively. Rather than allowing guilt to paralyze us, we can use it as an opportunity for self-reflection and growth. Take a moment to contemplate your own experiences with guilt. How has it influenced your decisions and relationships? Are there instances where guilt has motivated you to take positive action? Or have there been times when it has held you back? Engaging in this reflection can provide valuable insights into your values and the dynamics of your relationships. As we delve deeper into the psychology of guilt, we must also explore the concept of guilt manipulation. People may exploit guilt to control or influence others, particularly in interpersonal relationships. This form of manipulation can create toxic dynamics, where one person uses guilt as a weapon to maintain power or control over another. For example, a friend might say, "If you really cared about me, you would help me with this," creating an emotional obligation that can lead to resentment. Understanding guilt manipulation is crucial for maintaining healthy boundaries in relationships. When we recognize the tactics used by others to exploit our sense of guilt, we can respond with greater awareness and assertiveness. This awareness empowers us to set boundaries and communicate our needs without succumbing to guilt-induced pressure. Imagine a situation where a parent constantly reminds their adult child of the sacrifices they made for them. The child may feel guilty for not meeting the parent's expectations or for pursuing their own interests. This dynamic can lead to a strained relationship, as the parent's guilt-inducing tactics create resentment and emotional distance. Recognizing this manipulation allows the child to assert their independence while still expressing love and gratitude for their parent's support. The emotional landscape of guilt is further complicated by the concept of survivor's guilt. This phenomenon occurs when individuals feel guilty for surviving a traumatic event while others did not. For example, a person who survives a natural disaster may grapple with feelings of guilt for having escaped while others suffered. This form of guilt can be particularly challenging to navigate, as it can lead to emotional distress and a sense of isolation. Survivor's guilt highlights the complex interplay between individual experience and collective suffering. Individuals grappling with this form of guilt may benefit from connecting with others who have shared similar experiences, fostering a sense of community and understanding. By recognizing that guilt is a common reaction to trauma, individuals can begin to process their emotions and find healing. As we explore the psychology of guilt, it is essential to recognize that guilt can also serve as a catalyst for positive change. When we experience guilt for actions that conflict with our values, it can prompt us to reevaluate our choices and make amends. This transformative potential of guilt allows us to learn and grow, ultimately leading to greater self-awareness and authenticity. Consider a situation where someone feels guilty for not spending enough time with a loved one. This feeling may motivate them to prioritize their relationships, leading to more meaningful connections and a deeper appreciation for those they care about. By channeling guilt into constructive action, individuals can foster personal growth and strengthen their relationships. As we approach the conclusion of our exploration of the psychology of guilt, it is important to reflect on the multifaceted nature of this emotion. Guilt can serve as a powerful motivator for change, but it can also be used manipulatively by others. By understanding the dynamics of guilt, we can navigate our relationships with greater awareness and intention. Take a moment to consider how guilt has influenced your life. Are there instances where you have felt guilty for taking care of your own needs? How has this impacted your relationships and decision-making? Engaging in this self-reflection can help you identify patterns and develop a healthier relationship with guilt. As we prepare to transition to our next segment, let us carry with us the understanding that guilt is a complex emotion that can illuminate our values and guide our actions. By embracing our feelings of guilt and examining their sources, we can cultivate greater self-awareness and authenticity in our lives. In our next exploration, we will delve into the concept of social compliance and how it shapes our behavior in group settings. Prepare to journey further into the depths of psychological inquiry as we continue to unravel the intricate forces that influence our understanding of human behavior. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you felt compelled to follow the crowd, even when your instincts told you otherwise? Perhaps you were at a party, and everyone around you was drinking, laughing, and letting loose. You had initially planned to stick to water, but as the atmosphere buzzed with excitement, you felt the urge to join in, to blend with the group, to feel that sense of belonging. This experience encapsulates the essence of social compliance, a phenomenon that reveals the profound impact of group dynamics on our behavior and decision-making. Social compliance occurs when individuals conform to the norms, expectations, or behaviors of a group, often at the expense of their own beliefs or values. This powerful force can be observed in a wide range of contexts, from the pressure teenagers face to fit in with their peers to the influence of authority figures in organizational settings. The instinct to conform is deeply rooted in our psychology. It stems from our evolutionary past, when belonging to a group was essential for survival. As social beings, we are wired to seek connection and acceptance, making us susceptible to the influences of those around us. Consider a classic study conducted by psychologist Solomon Asch in the 1950s. In this experiment, participants were placed in a group with actors who had been instructed to give incorrect answers to simple questions about the length of lines on a card. The results were striking. Despite knowing the correct answer, Many participants conform to the group's incorrect response, prioritizing social acceptance over their own judgment. This study powerfully illustrates how the desire to fit in can lead us to compromise our beliefs and perceptions. Imagine standing in that room, surrounded by your peers, as they confidently assert the wrong answer. In that moment, you may feel a growing sense of doubt. Should you trust your eyes and speak up or remain silent, fearing rejection or ridicule? The discomfort of standing out can be overwhelming, prompting you to align your answer with the group. This internal conflict reflects the core of social compliance, where the need for acceptance can overshadow our commitment to the truth. The implications of social compliance extend far beyond simple group dynamics. They influence our behaviors in various aspects of our lives. In the workplace, for example, employees may feel pressured to conform to the prevailing culture, even if it conflicts with their values or ethical standards. Imagine a scenario where an organization promotes a cutthroat, competitive atmosphere, encouraging employees to undermine one another for personal gain. Those who resist this culture may feel isolated or marginalized, leading them to conform to the toxic norms to maintain their standing within the group. This pressure to comply can stifle individuality and authenticity, forcing individuals to compromise their principles and values. Recognizing the forces of social compliance allows us to cultivate a greater sense of self-awareness and empowerment. By understanding the dynamics at play, we can make more informed choices that align with our true selves rather than succumbing to external pressures. Consider your own experiences with social compliance. Reflect on times when you felt compelled to go along with the crowd, even if it meant compromising your beliefs. Perhaps you went along with a group decision that didn't sit right with you, or you laughed at a joke that made you uncomfortable simply to fit in. These moments reveal the subtle ways in which social dynamics shape our decisions and the importance of cultivating awareness in our interactions. As we explore the psychology of social compliance further, we must consider the role of authority figures in shaping our behaviors. The impact of authority can be profound, as we often look to those in positions of power for guidance and direction. Research conducted by psychologist Stanley Milgram in the 1960s demonstrated the extent to which individuals are willing to comply with authority, even when it conflicts with their personal morals. In Milgram's experiment, participants were instructed to administer electric shocks to a learner, an actor, whenever they answered questions incorrectly. As the shocks increased in intensity, the learner's responses became increasingly desperate, yet the authority figure, the experimenter, encouraged the participants to continue. Astonishingly, a significant number of participants obeyed the instructions, despite the apparent suffering of the learner. This chilling demonstration of obedience highlights the power of authority to override our moral compass and compel us to act against our better judgment. Imagine standing in that laboratory, hearing the cries of pain from the learner. The discomfort you feel may be palpable, yet the presence of the experimenter demanding compliance creates a conflict between your ethical beliefs and the role you are expected to play. This conflict underscores the power of social compliance in the presence of authority, revealing the complex interplay between individual morality and external influence. The implications of social compliance and authority extend to various aspects of society, including politics, education, and organizational behavior. In political contexts, individuals may feel compelled to conform to party lines or group ideologies, even when they personally disagree. This pressure to comply can lead to a lack of critical thinking and an erosion of authentic discourse, as individuals prioritize group loyalty over independent thought. Consider the impact of social compliance in educational settings. Students may feel pressured to conform to classroom norms, leading them to suppress their curiosity or critical thinking in favor of fitting in with their peers. This can stifle creativity and inhibit genuine learning, creating an environment where conformity is valued over exploration and discovery. As we navigate through these dynamics, it becomes evident that social compliance is not merely a passive phenomenon. It is an active process that shapes our identities and influences our choices. Understanding the forces at play allows us to cultivate a greater sense of individuality and authenticity. We can learn to recognize when we are conforming to group norms and make conscious choices that align with our values. Imagine a scenario where you find yourself in a group discussion about a controversial topic. As others express their opinions, you may feel the urge to conform, even if you hold a different viewpoint. By recognizing this urge, you can choose to speak up and share your perspective, fostering an environment of open dialogue and encouraging others to do the same. This act of courage not only reinforces your individuality but also contributes to a richer exchange of ideas. The exploration of social compliance also raises important questions about the role of responsibility in group dynamics. When we conform to the actions of others, we may inadvertently absolve ourselves of personal responsibility. The diffusion of responsibility, as seen in the bystander effect, highlights how individuals can feel less accountable when part of a group. This can lead to inaction in critical situations, where collective compliance undermines ethical behavior. Consider a workplace scenario where unethical practices are normalized within a team. Employees may witness questionable behavior but hesitate to speak up, believing that their concerns will be disregarded or that someone else will address the issue. This diffusion of responsibility can perpetuate harmful practices and create a toxic environment. Recognizing the dynamics of social compliance allows us to take ownership of our actions and encourage others to do the same. As we continue to explore the psychology of social compliance, it is essential to address the potential for positive outcomes as well. While conformity can lead to negative consequences, it can also foster cooperation, cohesion, and social harmony. In many situations, adhering to group norms can create a sense of belonging and community, promoting positive relationships and shared values. Imagine a community coming together to support a common cause, whether it be a charity event, environmental initiative, or social justice movement. In these instances, social compliance can enhance collective action and drive meaningful change. When individuals align their behaviors with the values of the group, they contribute to a greater purpose, fostering a sense of unity and shared responsibility. However, it is crucial to strike a balance between conformity and individuality. While social compliance can promote positive outcomes, it is essential to ensure that individuals feel empowered to express their unique perspectives and challenge the status quo. By fostering an environment that values both conformity and individuality, we can create spaces that encourage authentic dialogue and growth. As we approach the conclusion of our exploration of social compliance, let us reflect on the lessons we have uncovered. Social compliance is a powerful force that shapes our behaviors and decision-making processes. By understanding the dynamics at play, we can cultivate greater self-awareness and make choices that align with our true selves. Consider the feelings that arise as you contemplate your own experiences with social compliance. This phenomenon serves as a reminder that we are influenced by the world around us, but it also empowers us to reclaim our agency. By recognizing the pressure to conform, we can consciously choose to act in accordance with our values and beliefs. As we prepare to transition to our next segment, let us carry with us the understanding that social compliance is a complex interplay of psychological factors that influences our interactions and decisions. In our next exploration, we will delve into the psychology of addiction and its profound impact on our choices and relationships. Prepare to journey further into the depths of psychological inquiry as we continue to unravel the intricate forces that shape our understanding of human behavior and the challenges we face in our lives. Addiction is a powerful and often consuming force that can dramatically alter the course of an individual's life. It is a phenomenon that transcends simple habits or preferences, evolving into a compulsive need that can overshadow every aspect of one's existence. What drives someone to become addicted? How does addiction affect relationships with family, friends, and oneself? These questions cut to the heart of a complex issue that affects millions around the world, and understanding the psychology of addiction is essential for fostering empathy and support for those grappling with its grip. At its core, addiction is characterized by compulsive behavior and a loss of control over substances or activities. It is not merely a matter of willpower. Addiction rewires the brain, altering neural pathways and affecting the way individuals experience pleasure, motivation, and reward. When someone engages in addictive behavior, be it substance abuse, gambling, or excessive use of technology, the brain releases a flood of neurotransmitters like dopamine, creating feelings of euphoria and pleasure. This chemical response reinforces the behavior, making it increasingly difficult for individuals to resist the urge to indulge, even when they are aware of the negative consequences. Imagine a person who starts using drugs recreationally, initially enjoying the euphoric rush that accompanies the high. Over time, what begins as a choice can morph into a compulsion, as their brain becomes conditioned to seek out that pleasure. As the individual continues to use drugs, they may find that they need to consume larger amounts to achieve the same effect, leading to a vicious cycle of escalating use. This loss of control is a hallmark of addiction, illustrating how the initial choice to use can spiral into a compulsion that dominates one's life. Addiction can manifest in various forms, each with its own unique challenges and implications. Substance abuse, such as alcohol or drug addiction, is perhaps the most recognized form, but behavioral addictions, such as gambling, shopping, or even technology use, are increasingly prevalent in our digital age. The rise of smartphones and social media has given way to a new landscape of addiction, where individuals can become compulsively attached to their devices, seeking validation and connection in ways that can be detrimental to their overall well-being. Consider the impact of gambling addiction. This form of addiction can begin innocently enough, with an occasional trip to a casino or a friendly wager among friends. However, the thrill of winning can quickly turn into a compulsion, leading individuals to chase losses and gamble beyond their means. The emotional toll can be devastating, often resulting in financial ruin, damaged relationships, and a deep sense of shame. The cycle of addiction becomes a prison, where the individual feels trapped by their own desires and choices. Understanding the psychological mechanisms behind addiction is crucial for fostering empathy and support for those affected. Addiction is often accompanied by co-occurring mental health disorders, such as anxiety or depression. The relationship between addiction and mental health can be complex. Individuals may turn to addictive behaviors as a form of self-medication, attempting to escape from emotional pain or distress. Conversely, the consequences of addiction can exacerbate existing mental health issues, creating a vicious cycle that is difficult to break. Imagine a young man named Alex who struggles with anxiety and depression. Feeling overwhelmed by his emotions, he turns to alcohol as a means of coping. Initially, drinking provides relief and a sense of escape. However, over time, his reliance on alcohol intensifies, leading to addiction. Alex finds himself trapped in a downward spiral, where his mental health deteriorates further due to the consequences of his drinking. This scenario illustrates the intricate interplay between addiction and mental health, highlighting the need for compassionate support and understanding. Recognizing the complexities of addiction allows us to approach it with empathy rather than judgment. It is essential to remember that addiction is not a moral failing or a lack of willpower. It is a complex interplay of biological, psychological, and environmental factors. This understanding can lead to healthier relationships and support systems, as we learn to offer compassion and assistance rather than condemnation. Consider how addiction affects not only the individual but also their loved ones. Family and friends may feel the impact of a loved one's addiction in profound ways, experiencing a range of emotions from frustration and anger to helplessness and grief. The ripple effects of addiction can strain relationships, create an environment of chaos, and lead to feelings of isolation for both the person struggling with addiction and their support network. Imagine a mother who watches her son succumb to addiction. She may feel powerless as she witnesses the changes in his behavior, the withdrawal from family gatherings, and the impact on his health and well-being. The emotional toll on her is immense, as she grapples with feelings of guilt, anger, and sorrow. This scenario exemplifies the interconnectedness of addiction and its effects on relationships, underscoring the importance of open communication and support. Awareness of these dynamics can lead us to create more compassionate support systems. When we understand that addiction is a complex issue that affects not just the individual but also their loved ones, we can approach the situation with greater empathy and practical assistance. Support groups, counseling, and open dialogues can help families navigate the challenges posed by addiction, providing a safe space for sharing experiences and emotions. As we explore the psychology of addiction further, it is important to recognize the role of societal factors in shaping addictive behaviors. Our culture often glorifies certain types of substance use and risky behaviors, normalizing them and making it difficult to discern when enjoyment turns into addiction. Media representations of alcohol consumption, for example, frequently depict drinking as a source of fun and celebration, reinforcing the idea that it is a socially acceptable behavior. This normalization can create an environment where individuals feel pressured to engage in substance use, leading to unhealthy patterns. Imagine a college party scene depicted in a movie where drinking is portrayed as an essential part of the social experience. The character's reckless behavior may seem glamorous, but it glosses over the potential consequences of excessive alcohol consumption. This portrayal can contribute to a culture of permissiveness surrounding substance use, making it challenging for individuals to recognize when their behavior crosses the line into addiction. Additionally, the rise of technology and social media has introduced new forms of addiction that can be just as debilitating as substance abuse. Many individuals find themselves compulsively checking their phones, scrolling through social media feeds, or playing video games for hours on end. The instant gratification provided by technology can create a cycle of dependency, where individuals feel compelled to seek out digital stimulation, often at the expense of real-life connections and experiences. Consider the impact of social media addiction on a teenager. They may spend countless hours scrolling through carefully curated posts, seeking validation through likes and comments. The pressure to present a perfect image can lead to anxiety and low self-esteem when reality fails to match the idealized representations they see online. This addiction can create a sense of isolation, as real-life relationships take a backseat to digital interactions. Recognizing the complexities of addiction in the context of modern life allows us to approach the issue with greater awareness and understanding. It prompts us to consider our relationship with technology and the ways it shapes our behaviors and choices. Are we using technology as a tool for connection and creativity, or are we allowing it to control us? As we navigate the intricate landscape of addiction, it is important to acknowledge that recovery is a journey, often filled with challenges and setbacks. For individuals struggling with addiction, the path to healing can be fraught with obstacles. It requires immense courage, resilience, and support. Understanding the psychological aspects of addiction can foster empathy for those on this journey, allowing us to offer compassionate support and encouragement. Imagine a person entering a rehabilitation program filled with apprehension and uncertainty. They may feel overwhelmed by the enormity of their struggles, but they also carry a glimmer of hope for a future free from the chains of addiction. This journey is not linear. It is often marked by ups and downs, moments of triumph and moments of relapse. Recognizing the complexities of recovery allows us to approach individuals with compassion, celebrating their progress while understanding the challenges they face. The importance of community support cannot be overstated in the context of addiction recovery. Support groups, therapy, and open conversations can create a sense of belonging and understanding for those struggling with addiction. When individuals feel supported, they are more likely to engage in the recovery process and work toward healing. Consider the power of sharing experiences within a support group. Individuals come together to discuss their struggles, share their stories, and offer encouragement to one another. This sense of community can be transformative, allowing individuals to feel less isolated in their experiences and more motivated to pursue recovery. The strength found in connection can be a powerful antidote to the loneliness often associated with addiction. As we approach the conclusion of our exploration of the psychology of addiction, it is essential to recognize that addiction is a multifaceted phenomenon that encompasses a range of behaviors and experiences. It is not merely a matter of willpower or moral failing. It is a complex interplay of biological, psychological, and social factors. By understanding the dynamics of addiction, we can approach it with empathy and compassion, fostering healthier relationships and support systems. Take a moment to reflect on your own experiences with addiction, whether personally or through the lens of loved ones. How has it shaped your understanding of human behavior, relationships, and resilience? Engaging with these questions can provide valuable insights into the complexities of addiction and the importance of supporting one another on the journey to recovery. As we prepare to transition to our next segment, let us carry with us the understanding that the psychology of addiction invites us to explore the intricacies of human behavior and the forces that shape our choices. In our next exploration, we will delve into the psychology of social media and its effects on our behaviors and well-being. Prepare to journey further into the depths of psychological inquiry as we continue to unravel the intricate forces that influence our understanding of life and the challenges we face in our daily lives. Social media has revolutionized the way we connect with one another, bridging distances and allowing us to engage with friends, family, and even strangers from around the globe. In an instant, we can share our lives, our thoughts, and our experiences with a wide audience. Yet, as we scroll through our feeds filled with curated images and highlight reels, we may find ourselves grappling with feelings of anxiety, inadequacy, and self-doubt. Have you ever closed your phone after a session of social media scrolling, feeling a weight in your chest or a nagging sense that you are somehow falling short? This emotional turbulence is a significant aspect of the psychology of social media, and it reveals the complexities of our digital interactions. To understand the psychological implications of social media, we must first acknowledge the design of these platforms. Social media is engineered to foster engagement, drawing users in with features that encourage interaction, sharing, and connectivity. Likes, shares, comments, and notifications create a feedback loop that keeps us coming back for more. The thrill of receiving a notification can trigger a rush of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, reinforcing the behavior and compelling us to engage with the platform repeatedly. This cycle of engagement can create a sense of connection, but it can also lead to a distorted perception of reality. Imagine logging onto your favorite social media app and immediately being greeted by a cascade of posts showcasing the seemingly perfect lives of others. Friends are on exotic vacations, celebrating milestones, or sharing stunning photos of their accomplishments. As you swipe through the images, you might feel a pang of envy or inadequacy. Why isn't your life as exciting or fulfilling? This comparison trap can lead to a distorted self-image and unrealistic expectations about our own lives. The curated nature of social media feeds creates an illusion of perfection that is often unattainable in reality. People tend to share their highlights, the best moments, the most beautiful pictures, the happiest memories, while the mundane, the struggles, and the challenges remain hidden in the shadows. This selective sharing can lead to a skewed perception of what life should look like, fostering feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. We may find ourselves measuring our worth against the glossy images that flood our feeds, leading to a cycle of comparison that can be detrimental to our mental health. Research has shown that excessive social media use is linked to increased levels of anxiety, depression, and loneliness. The constant comparison to others can contribute to feelings of isolation, as we may perceive ourselves as disconnected or unloved. When we see only the best aspects of others' lives, we can forget that everyone has their struggles, insecurities, and imperfect moments. The pressure to present a perfect image can create an emotional burden, leading us to curate our own profiles in a way that may not reflect our true selves. Consider the case of a teenager who spends hours scrolling through social media, absorbing the images of peers who seem to have it all: perfect bodies, exciting social lives, and constant validation from their followers. As they compare themselves to these idealized representations, they may begin to internalize a sense of inadequacy. This can lead to negative body image, low self-esteem, and even mental health issues. The more they engage with content that emphasizes perfection, the deeper they may sink into feelings of worthlessness. Understanding the psychological effects of social media empowers us to navigate these platforms more mindfully. By recognizing how our social media usage impacts our mental health, we can take proactive steps to cultivate a healthier relationship with technology. Reflecting on the emotions that arise during and after our social media interactions can provide valuable insights into our behaviors and motivations. Are we using social media as a tool for connection, or are we allowing it to dictate our self-worth? One approach to fostering a healthier relationship with social media is to set intentional boundaries around its use. Consider designating specific times for social media engagement and limiting your exposure during other parts of the day. This can help reduce the feeling of being constantly tethered to your devices and create space for more meaningful interactions in real life. By prioritizing in-person connections and experiences, you can combat the feelings of isolation that often accompany excessive social media use. Another strategy is to curate your social media feeds mindfully. Take a moment to reflect on the accounts you follow. Are they uplifting and inspiring, or do they contribute to feelings of inadequacy and frustration? By unfollowing accounts that evoke negative emotions and seeking out those that promote positivity, authenticity, and self-acceptance, you can reshape your online experience. Surrounding yourself with content that aligns with your values and aspirations can create a more supportive environment, fostering a sense of belonging and connection. It's also essential to remember that social media is just one aspect of our lives. While it can facilitate connections and provide valuable information, it should not define our self-worth. Engaging in activities that promote self-care and well-being, such as exercise, hobbies, or spending time with loved ones, can help create a sense of fulfillment that transcends the digital realm. Imagine spending an afternoon hiking in nature, free from the distractions of your phone. The beauty of the natural world and the joy of being present can provide a refreshing contrast to the curated images that flood your social media feed. As we navigate the complexities of social media, it is crucial to approach our online interactions with a sense of awareness and intention. The psychology of social media is shaped by various factors, including our emotional states, societal norms, and the ever-evolving landscape of technology. By cultivating a mindful approach to social media, we can reduce the negative impact it may have on our mental health and well-being. Reflect on your own experiences with social media. How has it influenced your thoughts and feelings about yourself? Are there patterns in your usage that contribute to anxiety or dissatisfaction? Engaging with these questions can help you gain insights into your relationship with technology and empower you to make choices that align with your values. As we delve deeper into the psychology of social media, we must also examine the role of validation in shaping our online behaviors. In a world where likes, shares, and comments serve as metrics of approval, the desire for validation can drive individuals to curate their online personas meticulously. This quest for affirmation can create a cycle of dependency, where self-worth becomes contingent on external validation. Imagine posting a carefully crafted photo on social media, eagerly awaiting the likes and comments that follow. The rush of notifications can provide a temporary sense of satisfaction, but what happens when those likes fade? The fleeting nature of digital validation can leave individuals feeling empty and unfulfilled, as they seek increasingly extreme measures to capture attention and approval. This cycle can lead to a distorted sense of self and a reliance on external factors for self-esteem. Understanding the psychological dynamics of validation allows us to reflect on our motivations for engaging with social media. Are we seeking genuine connection and expression, or are we chasing after the ephemeral thrill of likes and shares? By cultivating a sense of self-worth that is rooted in our values and passions, rather than external validation, we can create a more resilient and authentic identity. As we explore the impact of social media on our mental health, we must also acknowledge the potential for positive connections and communities to emerge from these platforms. While social media can foster feelings of inadequacy, it can also serve as a space for support, empowerment, and shared experiences. Many individuals find solace in online communities that align with their interests, values, and struggles, creating a sense of belonging that transcends geographical boundaries. Consider the power of support groups on social media, where individuals facing similar challenges can share their experiences, offer encouragement, and find solidarity. These communities can provide vital emotional support, helping individuals feel less isolated in their struggles. By recognizing the potential for positivity within social media, we can embrace the opportunities for connection and understanding that these platforms offer. As we approach the conclusion of our exploration of the psychology of social media, it is essential to reflect on the lessons we have uncovered. Social media is a double-edged sword, capable of fostering connection and creativity, while also contributing to anxiety and feelings of inadequacy. By understanding the psychological mechanisms that underpin our interactions with these platforms, we can develop a more mindful approach to our online presence. Take a moment to consider how your social media usage impacts your mental health and well-being. Are there changes you can make to cultivate a healthier relationship with technology? By setting boundaries, curating your feed, and prioritizing authentic connections, you can navigate the digital landscape with greater intention and awareness. As we prepare to transition to our next segment, let us carry with us the understanding that the psychology of social media challenges us to reflect on our behaviors and motivations. In our next exploration, we will delve into the concept of resilience and how it empowers us to face challenges and navigate the complexities of life. Prepare to journey further into the depths of psychological inquiry as we continue to unravel the intricate forces that shape our understanding of existence and the challenges we encounter in our lives. Resilience is a remarkable quality that dwells within each of us, a powerful force that enables individuals to bounce back from adversity and emerge stronger in the face of life's challenges. It is not merely the ability to endure hardship, but rather the capacity to adapt, grow, and thrive despite the obstacles we encounter. How do we cultivate this strength? What role does resilience play in our lives? As we embark on this exploration of resilience, we will uncover the essence of this trait, its significance in our personal journeys, and the ways we can nurture it within ourselves. At its core, resilience is about how we respond to stress and adversity. Life is filled with unpredictable twists and turns, from personal setbacks and failures to external crises and tragedies. Resilient individuals possess an innate ability to navigate these challenges with determination and grace. They understand that difficulties are not just obstacles to be avoided. They are opportunities for growth and transformation. When faced with adversity, resilient individuals are more likely to approach the situation with a mindset of curiosity and problem-solving, rather than succumbing to despair or defeat. Imagine a young woman named Emily, who faced significant challenges in her life. After experiencing a difficult breakup, she found herself grappling with feelings of loneliness and self-doubt. Rather than allowing these feelings to consume her, Emily chose to view the experience as an opportunity for self-discovery. She began to explore her passions, reconnect with friends, and invest time in personal growth. Over time, she emerged from the experience with a deeper understanding of herself and a renewed sense of purpose. This journey exemplifies the essence of resilience. It is not about avoiding pain or difficulty, but embracing it as a catalyst for personal growth. Understanding resilience involves recognizing that it is not a fixed trait, but rather a skill that can be developed and strengthened over time. Resilient individuals often possess certain characteristics that contribute to their ability to cope with adversity. These may include a positive outlook, emotional regulation, problem-solving skills, and a strong support network. However, it is essential to note that resilience is not about denying or minimizing our struggles. It is about acknowledging them and finding ways to adapt and move forward. One of the key components of resilience is emotional regulation, the ability to manage and respond to our emotions in healthy ways. When faced with stress or adversity, our emotions can run high, leading to feelings of anger, sadness, or anxiety. Resilient individuals cultivate the skills to recognize these emotions, understand their origins, and respond in ways that align with their values and goals. This process involves developing self-awareness and practicing mindfulness, allowing individuals to observe their emotional responses without being overwhelmed by them. Imagine a scenario where you face a significant setback at work. A project you poured your heart into has been rejected. The initial wave of disappointment and frustration may be overwhelming, but a resilient approach allows you to pause and reflect. Instead of spiraling into negativity, you take a moment to breathe, assess the situation, and identify constructive steps forward. Perhaps you gather feedback, seek support from colleagues, or reframe the experience as a learning opportunity. This ability to regulate your emotions and respond thoughtfully is a hallmark of resilience. Another crucial aspect of resilience is the cultivation of a growth mindset. Coined by psychologist Carol Dweck, a growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. When individuals adopt a growth mindset, they view challenges as opportunities for learning rather than as insurmountable obstacles. This perspective fosters perseverance and encourages individuals to embrace failure as a natural part of the growth process. Consider the story of Thomas Edison, the legendary inventor who famously stated, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison's relentless pursuit of innovation exemplifies a growth mindset. Rather than viewing each setback as a reason to give up, he embraced each failure as a stepping stone toward success. By cultivating a growth mindset, we can reframe our experiences and approach challenges with curiosity and resilience. The implications of resilience extend far beyond individual experiences. They ripple through our relationships and communities. When we cultivate resilience within ourselves, we become better equipped to support others facing their own challenges. Imagine a friend who is going through a difficult time, grappling with personal loss or professional setbacks. Your own resilience allows you to offer empathy, understanding, and support, creating a safe space for them to navigate their emotions. By sharing our experiences and coping strategies, we can foster a sense of community and connection that empowers everyone involved. Furthermore, resilience can play a significant role in the workplace. Organizations that prioritize resilience and support their employees in developing coping strategies are likely to see increased productivity, job satisfaction, and overall well-being. When employees feel resilient, they are better equipped to handle stress, adapt to change, and contribute positively to the workplace culture. Imagine a team that faces a challenging project. If its members are resilient, they can collaborate effectively, support one another, and navigate obstacles with a sense of purpose and determination. As we explore the psychology of resilience, it is essential to recognize that the journey to cultivating resilience is not always linear. Life's challenges can be unpredictable, and setbacks are a natural part of the process. However, it is through these very challenges that we develop the strength and skills necessary to overcome adversity. Reflecting on your own experiences, consider moments when you faced significant obstacles. How did those experiences shape your understanding of resilience? What lessons did you learn about your own capacity to adapt and grow? The concept of resilience also encourages us to embrace vulnerability. In a society that often glorifies strength and self-sufficiency, acknowledging our vulnerabilities can be a daunting task. However, recognizing and expressing our vulnerabilities is a crucial step toward cultivating resilience. When we allow ourselves to be open about our struggles, we create opportunities for connection and support. Vulnerability fosters authenticity, inviting others to share their experiences and creating a sense of solidarity in our shared human experience. Imagine a group of friends who gather to share their personal struggles, a conversation that unfolds with honesty and empathy. Each person recounts their challenges, fears, and failures, creating a safe space where vulnerability is welcomed. This openness not only strengthens their bond but also fosters a collective sense of resilience. By supporting one another, they empower each other to face life's challenges with courage and determination. As we conclude our exploration of the psychology of resilience, it is essential to recognize that resilience is not merely an individual trait. It is a collective force that can shape our communities and societies. When we foster resilience in ourselves and in those around us, we contribute to a culture of support and growth. This culture encourages individuals to embrace their challenges, learn from their experiences, and emerge stronger on the other side. Take a moment to reflect on your own journey toward resilience. What challenges have you faced, and how have they shaped your understanding of yourself? How can you cultivate resilience in your life moving forward? Engaging with these questions allows you to embrace your experiences and recognize the strength that lies within you. As we prepare to transition to our next segment, let us carry with us the understanding that resilience is a powerful force that enables us to navigate life's challenges. By embracing vulnerability, cultivating a growth mindset, and fostering connections with others, we can build a foundation of resilience that empowers us to face whatever life throws our way. In our next exploration, we will delve into the concept of dark psychology, examining the manipulative tactics that can exploit our vulnerabilities and fears. Prepare to journey further into the depths of psychological inquiry as we continue to unravel the intricate forces that shape our understanding of human behavior and the challenges we encounter in our lives.